Хм. 50. Приобретение. Заслуги. Хм. Еще 100 медалей. Хм. Арсенал. М. Так. Персонаж. Не добавили. Не добавили. Ура! Ошибку исправили. 8 из 8. От модуля корабля надо покупать.
If more planets turn into super colonies like Meridia, we'll have to significantly ramp up our munitions production. We'll need a lot more bombs, is what I'm saying.
I was thinking, Helldiver, we know the flying bugs came from the termicide mutations, but what about the flying bots? You know, is it just a coincidence that they started flying at the same time? Or is it some kind of bug-bot collusion? I'm just saying, someone ought to look into that. Apparently, we haven't seen bug numbers like this since the Great Galactic War. But the Helldivers stomped the bugs then, so we got nothing to worry about, right? Yeah. Who's worried? I've actually read about what happened with the termicide. It's called hormesis. Basically, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Like how small doses of poison can make you immune. Or how workers in uranium mines can't get cancer.
Woman and child over 7 will work to stop them. Do your part. Get to work.
When I need some motivation, I like to read the Helldiver ethos. Picks me right up. Sometimes I read too much and get overly motivated and kind of jittery and need to put it down. I heard that some dissidents wanted us to select our own candidates instead of using the algorithm. Great idea. Everyone will just become a political expert overnight. Treasonous morons. I still remember filling out my very first Democratic preferences ballot. Whew, what a rush. Helldiver! Every day you put yourself at risk to defend freedom and liberty, and I just want to say, thank you. When I face Super Earth for the vow of allegiance every morning, I can almost always feel where it is. even in a brand new part of the galaxy. I can't wait to get home again. It's the little things you miss, you know? Like sitting in candlelight on Heroes Day, chanting with my family and renewing our vows of citizenship together. I heard that Chow Hall got a shipment of purples in today. They're not my favorite fruit, personally, but it's nice just to have something different. Wonder which candidate will be selected for me in this upcoming election. Before I joined the service, I'd never left my home planet. Now I see a new planet almost every day. Makes me appreciate what a beautiful democracy it'll be once we finish stamping out those fascist bugs. Nobody back home can believe I get to talk to Helldivers every day. I mean, I don't blame them. All of us had Helldiver posters all over our bedrooms growing up. I still have to pinch myself sometimes. It's fish fry night at the Chow Hall. I don't know what planets they get these fish from, and I don't care. It's all fried, and it's all good. You ever run into any equipment issues, let me know. I've got your back. Super Earth really is the best place to live in the entire galaxy, isn't it? Sometimes when I can't sleep, I imagine what it would be like to live there. Hey there, Helldiver. I know you put your neck on the line for regular folks like me every day. It's not much, but I donate 15% of every one of my paychecks to the war fund. It's the least I can do. Sometimes, I almost feel bad for our enemies, living without democracy. No say over their own lives, just believing whatever they're told. Sad. I heard dissidents set another weapons factory on fire. They didn't take responsibility, of course. Tried to blame it on working conditions. Tell that to the 27 dead patriots and their families. If I were a Helldiver, I think my favorite enemy to kill would be the bots. I bet watching them spark and explode really lights up your freedom-loving heart. Democracy's kind of like these machines I work on. Needs regular maintenance to keep running smoothly. And the bugs are sort of like if bugs got into one of these machines. The only thing to do would be to exterminate them. If I had all the super credits in the galaxy, I'd try to find some way to convince our enemies to embrace freedom. Maybe print 1 trillion pamphlets or build 1 billion interplanetary radio stations. Something to break through whatever propaganda they're feeding them. It's just a pipe dream. I gotta kill them all.
Break of assault shotgun. Same as Pa. Now that is what I call tradition.
Hunting, warfare, own defense, but most of all, tradition. Morganson, a Super Earth company.
You know, sometimes, as a technician, you gotta realize when something's beyond repair. When it comes to these automatons, there's no fixing them. Only solution is to wipe the slate clean. Flag-forsaken bots, they just won't accept freedom, no matter how hard we give it to them. As much as I hate the bugs, I hate dissidents even more. They were handed freedom and chose to spit in its face. Death is too good for them. I don't know how you do it, Helldiver. Facing off against monsters who haven't got a democratic bone in their body. If they even have bones. Long shift deployments are great for saving up. You get the family separation bonus, which more than makes up for the bunk and chow fees. Of course, I don't qualify for the bonus since I haven't been approved yet, but once I am, I'll have a nice nest egg saved up. I just set all the ship's clocks back an hour for freedom savings time. I'm gonna spend my extra hour doing another round of maintenance checks. It's nice, because today I won't have to work overtime to get them done. You know, if it weren't for Super Earth, I couldn't even afford these high-tech tools I use every day. And they lease them out to me so I can do my job. Pretty low interest rate, too. When I was a kid, I always loved All Heroes Eve. The adults would all dress up as bugs and ring our doorbells, and we'd have to fire 3 shots in the air and say, "No fascism here, insects!" At the end of the night, they'd reenact the Battle of Liberty Peak, and we'd all get cake. I remember when I was a kid, they sold stickers in the Freedom catalog that were these little squish bugs. You put them on the bottom of your boot, and it was like you were squashing bugs every time you took a step. Everyone was collecting them, trying to get the rare ones. Man, those things were cool. If I were a Helldiver, I think my favorite enemy to kill would be the bugs. It's gotta be real satisfying, hearing them crunch under your boot. I'm hoping to raise my citizenship level by the time I retire. If I ever have kids, I'd want them to be able to purchase a small pet someday, like a goldfish.
Keep an ear trained
a
on
hamster.
your parents for signs of rebellion. Signs include disparaging Super Earth, distrust in managed democracy, asking questions, and any sentence that includes the phrase alien rights. A report today is a life saved tomorrow.
Whenever the war gets me down, I try to remember that at least I'm a free citizen. It's up to me how I serve Super Earth. Can't take that for granted. Back when I was a kid, the local loyalty officer would give us sweets for telling him what was going on with the adults around town. Things they were saying, where they were headed, that sort of stuff. Nice to look back and know you were helping keep everyone safe, even if you didn't know it. I earned a few more citizenship points the other day. All it took was reporting some unpatriotic talk I heard in the barracks. Now there's one less dissident, and I get one more doctor's visit every year. Back when I was a kid, we used to play bug killers out in the schoolyard. Whoever could kill the most bugs by the end of recess won. Sometimes the teachers would join in too.
О! Я прочитал все диалоги. Ей! Такое возможно.
The TCS couldn't have failed at a worse time. Cyberstan was practically ours. The sheer volume of spores coming out of this super colony, I've never seen anything like it. Our farms couldn't achieve half of this, even at peak output. The destroyer is mighty, but it's not Super Earth's greatest weapon. No, that is managed democracy. The one thing our enemies can never understand. Even though the First Galactic War ended almost 100 years ago, we're still enjoying the freedom those heroes fought and died for. Maybe in another 100 years, our descendants will be doing the same. More samples. Good. I'm looking forward to seeing what destroyer upgrades you can get with them.
Hear that? That's the sound of heavy armor, stopping the spread of democracy in its tracks. See? Enemies that are more heavily armored require you to be more heavily armed. That's the stuff. With the right stratagem, there's no defense democracy cannot penetrate. Brash tactics. Use them or die trying.
The more we fight, the more it becomes clear that our enemies will never accept our way of life. It's us or them. I thought we had a lot of planets when I was a kid, but we've settled dozens more since then. A few generations from now, and the entire Milky Way will be one united democracy. Oh, I see you've secured some research samples. You can spend those at the terminal over there to upgrade the Super Destroyer. Get enough of them, and we'll see what this baby can really do. The bots are proof that if you put enough ones and zeros together, you can threaten the entire galaxy. You inspire me, Helldiver. You inspire us all. Keep up the good work, Helldiver. Once we win, the planets we're fighting over will finally be allowed to prosper, like the rest of the Federation. I hear a new voting algorithm is coming soon. Supposed to have even better candidate selection than the current one, if you can believe it. When I get exhausted, I just think of all the brave Super Earth colonists out there settling new planets. They do their part, and we do ours. The bugs are basically an out-of-control pest, and you're the exterminator. You know, the problem with the bugs is that they're relentless expansionists. In their region of space, we found them on nearly every planet we've settled. This ship will never visit most of our planets. Why? Because they aren't under attack. And with you here, they'll stay that way. Some of the crew like to talk about what they'll do when the war is over. I don't allow that sort of thing. We need to focus on the fight. I give every crew member a half day off on Liberty Day. Some things are sacred, even on the front. I haven't set foot on Super Earth myself, but I've heard it's even more spectacular in person. I'm sure you've wondered how voting works on a destroyer. Don't worry, our terminal is top of the line. Latest algorithm and everything. Stay vigilant, Helldiver. Complacency plays right into the hands of dissidents. The average Helldiver mission approaches the cost of a Liberty-class cruiser. Just goes to show how critical our mission is to the war effort. The election is coming up. Even in the midst of war, managed democracy stands strong. Liberty rests on your shoulders, Helldiver. I know you can bear the weight. If you've got any medals or super credits, you can spend them in the acquisition store. That's where they sell the fancy stuff.
И тоже поговорить уже нельзя.
You're doing democracy's work.
С этим можно поговорить? Не.
We have prevented the corruption of any more worlds into super colonies. But with the resurgent Terminids on one side and the automatons on the other, managed democracy is yet in grave peril. The Terminid spores darken the skies as I have never seen. Hold the line, Helldiver. Hold the line. The Termicide has backfired, twisting the planet of Meridia into a Terminid super colony. An unforeseeable, devastating outcome. We must act now, before even more planets fall. The lives of humanity's present are a crumb. The lives of humanity's future, a boundless loaf. Our enemies forsook mercy long ago. Oblivion is all that awaits them now. The torch of freedom is passed hand to hand, from one thawed hero to the next. They may bear it for 1 hour or 1 minute, but there is always another to keep it from going out. I only regret that I have but one ship's worth of lives to give to our cause. We fight them, but we cannot forget that the Terminids are the ichor of democracy itself. I realized long ago that death in the defense of freedom was not a tragedy to be lamented, but a sacrifice to be revered. When the undemocratic din of our enemies has at last been silenced, we shall finally perceive the unsullied peal of democracy, reverberating evermore. The Terminids are a force to be harnessed, not a scourge to be cleansed. Liberty demands our temperance. As the chain does not scrutinize the brevity of its links, neither does liberty mourn the transience of the Helldiver's service. The final absolution of Xenocide is a mellifluous clarion guiding our path. I realized long ago that death in the defense of freedom was not a tragedy to be lamented, but a sacrifice to be revered.
Повторился.
We fight them, but we cannot forget that the Terminids are the ichor of democracy itself.
Повторяется.
As the chain does not scrutinize the brevity of its links, neither does liberty mourn the transience of the Helldiver's service. I only regret that I have but one ship's worth of lives to give to our cause. Our enemies forsook mercy long ago. Oblivion is all that awaits them now. The final absolution of Xenocide is a mellifluous clarion guiding our path. The lives of humanity's present are a crumb. The lives of humanity's future, a boundless loaf. The torch of freedom is passed hand to hand, from one thawed hero to the next. They may bear it for 1 hour or 1 minute, but there is always another to keep it from going out. When the undemocratic din of our enemies has at last been silenced, we shall finally perceive the unsullied peal of democracy, reverberating evermore. The Terminids are a force to be harnessed, not a scourge to be cleansed. Liberty demands our temperance. We fight them, But we cannot forget that the Terminids are the ichor of democracy itself. I only regret that I have but one ship's worth of lives to give to our cause. Our enemies forsook mercy long ago. Oblivion is all that awaits them now. The torch of freedom is passed hand to hand, from one thawed hero to the next. They may bear it for 1 hour or 1 minute, but there is always another to keep it from going out. When the undemocratic din of our enemies has at last been silenced, we shall finally perceive the unsullied peal of democracy.
Да, повторяется.
Each mission puts this crew at risk, but everyone here would gladly give their lives to preserve democracy.
Да. Так, значит, катастрофа. Жуки. Да. Шесть, 25, 82.
It is only a matter of time before the Terminids here evolve into even worse abominations. We must destroy the TCS before it is too late.